Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here on my next Legend of Korra Book 4 Balance episode commentary. This is going to be the commentary for K407 Reunion, 7th episode of Book 4 Balance. To sync up your copy of the episode with this commentary track, what you need to do is have your episode ready to press play at the start of the episode, including the intro. So obviously the first thing you're going to see on screen is Kyoshi, you'll get the Earth, Fire, Air, Water bit, and then the episode will start. So have it ready to start, including the intro. I'm going to stop speaking now in a moment, and then when I come back, kind of after a pause, you hit play, I'll hit play, and we'll both be synced up. So I'm going to stop speaking now, hit play when I start speaking again. Okay, so here we are with K407 Reunion. Middle episode, basically, of the book. And, a notable episode, obviously, because of the name, Reunion. It's where kind of Team Avatar kind of comes back together again. We get to see a lot of our kind of main characters meeting up after a kind of long time having not seen each other. And I think many of us expected this to be a very just character-focused episode, just a whole episode focused on these various interactions and maybe a little bit about what Kavira is doing. But what we actually get is kind of like intro. There's still issues between our characters because they've been away from each other for so long, and then there's kind of more action plot with the kidnap attempt of Prince Wu. So They went more than the action route rather than full-on character stuff. But yeah, a little bit about Naga and Pabu at the start of the episode. We don't really get to see them too much in basically the second half of the entire series. But Korra and Naga is the first reunion more or less, so that's fun. She hasn't seen Naga in a while. So I kind of like that to just establish that these are really close friends. Naga is basically Korra's first friend, before she met her Team Avatar friends. And obviously, the big thing here is that the Air Kids succeeded and got Korra back. Boomy Boomju reunion with Korra. Boomy has clearly lost a bit of weight, now is an airbender. Full-on airbender, I mean. And yeah, Tenzin, happy that they succeeded. No, still a bit young for the tattoos just yet, but I think Milo's a kind of prodigal airbender. I think he's really amazing, so I don't think he'll be too far off from getting his tattoos. And just basically catching everyone up with what happened last episode, that Korra's first confrontation with Kavira didn't go so well. Still has some recovery to go. They all have to work together, so you kind of get the idea of what's going on in this episode. Focus here is just Korra's back. And as far as Opal is aware, Bolin is still over with Kuvira, though, as we know, they escaped Varg's bomb plot. And I think this is the episode where we get the Anna and Baraz section of the episodes. I think, again, it's one of those things where it's given a little bit too much time for how important it is to the overall series compared to other things that don't get the time. It's interesting that they explain this whole thing, that she's kind of purged the Earth Kingdom of people not of Earth Kingdom origin. But there's a lot of focus on them. They're in this episode, they're in the next episode, and it's just one of those things. Book 3, Book 4, around the middle section, it kind of slows down a little bit and just kind of loses a little bit of its focus. So it's definitely the point where you think middle point it should be at its best, but it's not quite that way. And again, at the time, the whole Varric plot is it's cool, Varric's getting some plot focus. But then by the end of the book, and looking back on it, you realize that, why did Varric get so much time and say, Asami barely got any time? But here, Korra Asami reunion, you get Korra in her new outfit for the first time. And you'll notice, in my commentaries up until now, I haven't really said anything that's kind of Korra Asami focused. But that blush, this reunion, is the first time I really kind of saw wow, they may actually go down this road. That Korra Asami blush, and just their interactions maybe in this episode a little bit. But I just don't feel they give it enough time to really like make it very clear going into the last episode this is a thing. It's just kind of like potential. There's a few scenes here and there. You're just like, are they going down this road? They just don't make it clear enough. And I understand it was Nickelodeon, but still, like, you could have made it clear without making it obvious. But yep, Wu joining in on the Team Avatar reunion, ruining it for them. I want to see your eyes go. And here, I like that there's issues that they all sent Korra letters, but she only responded to one with Sammy, and didn't respond to the other people. I just kind of like that it isn't just a perfect reunion. Oh, I'm so glad to see you after 3 years. There's issues that Korra was away for 3 years and didn't contact them. And so, when Korra has an opinion on something that's been going on in the past 3 years, Asami kind of just like, hey, you've been gone 3 years. Why do you deserve an opinion kind of thing? It's definitely interesting, but interesting that Asami just says it right there. You don't get to disappear for 3 years. And here's where the kidnap plot comes into play. I suppose it kind of works in the episode in that there are issues between the kind of Team Avatar members here and them going on this kind of mission to save Wu together, kind of just after they've kind of just reunited, works to bring them back together and that they still can function as a team, and it gets them past a lot of those like, this is the first time seeing you in 3 years, why didn't you write to me type stuff. But here we go. The kidnap attempt is in place. Now, the one problem I have with the kidnap attempt plot is that it comes out of nowhere. Like, you never see Kuvira call for Wu to be kidnapped. You never see Kuvira treat Wu like a threat. So it makes no sense as to why she actually suddenly is afraid of him to the point where she needs to have him captured. It's just a weird kind of thing in that it's never referenced. Like, it's just for this episode, and it just feels like, we have to have some action in this episode. Let's have Wu kind of be kidnapped. Interesting thing here is Anna and Baraz, these two refugee people, are based on really early designs for Korra and Mako. You can sort of see the kind of hairstyle there with Baraz kind of looks like Mako is just really messy, and then Korra's hair is just kind of more fancier version of what she had in book 1 and stuff like that. Yeah, this section is just them catching on that Wu has been kidnapped and springing into action. Korra knows what's up. Suspicious of everything. Wu is in the laundry. He just pops out. Korra takes a hit, but it doesn't keep her down like kind of previous episodes that perhaps would have. Like, she kind of jumps straight into action, leads Team Avatar like she's meant to, and she runs after him, sends those two away, and just really powerful earthbending right there. Doesn't quite get it, but hop into the Avatar. Again, just it's cool to see Team Avatar in action together, minus Bolin. We don't really get to see, in the grand scheme of the series actually, we don't get to see a lot of just Team Avatar working together, because of the plots kind of usually involve them splitting up somehow, or something coming up that keeps one of them away, so you don't really get to see them as a group fight that much. Like, there's when extremes meet, there was a little bit in book 2, a little bit in book 3, and then we get a little bit here, but never too much. It's interesting. Korra takes control. She knows how to drive because Asami taught her. Let's see Mako make an arrest, that he is in a pretty high position in the Republic City Police, that he can order these people around, he knows what to do. It's just a cool thing that you don't really get to see because Mako is just... They just decided not to do much with him in the second half of the series. And it's frustrating because there are super interesting things you can do with him. Spirits... always interesting. And here's Korra using the technique she learned in the swamp for the first time in proper action away from the swamp. Knowing where Wu is by sensing the kind of spirit vines all across the city and sensing Wu's life force. Interesting that they mentioned that you can actually do it. She can do it once there's like spirit vines around, or something like that. And here's just that explanation I was mentioning earlier on about the re-education camps. It's just a prison, purging states, And then again, it comes back to Kuvira, and where does the evil side of Kuvira actually come from? I can sort of get it, like she cares about her people and stuff like that. She doesn't want people, the people from her nation to ever experience what she had to in her childhood. So she purges her nation of people who now live there, who are not originally from there. It's just a weird thing. They don't explain where that kind of super, national kind of pride comes from. It's really weird, but Bolin doing some awesome moves. Just taking command of a situation where there's tons of benders around the place. I feel it ends up kind of being this Bolin section, kind of an unnecessary plot point. Like in Book 3, it was kind of not needed to show the Red Lotus escaping Republic City. I don't think you absolutely need to show Bolin and Varric making it through the checkpoint. He appears towards the end of this episode. He and Varric escaped Batar because of the bomb plot thing from last episode. And here's the Korra mention that she met Toph. And they're all like, whoa. And then they're like, whoa, worst version of Lin. You'd be surprised. Yeah, Asami has the equalist shock glove still. That's a nice touch. They kept that continuity. It's just perfect for just taking out people and instantly electrocuting them. But yeah, it kind of just ends up feeling like, oh, we have to have more action in this episode, so let's have this happen. Because it's not like Baraz, Anna, and these refugees from the prison camps end up coming to help them in the end. It's just they're gone after episode 8, so it's kind of like, what were you really leading towards there? The whole point of those prisoners is just to get across the kind of purging of people not from Earth Kingdom. I do appreciate the time that is given to Varric, because he's always been a character that's so focused on the humor and comedy side of things that you struggle to know really who he is as a character too much. So actually getting focused on him, his relationship with Zhu Li here, and Zhu Li getting focus in this book works to really get him across. And without Book 4 and Varric's involvement in Book 4, he maybe wouldn't have been as interesting of a character. Yeah, more wanted posters. So many characters have wanted posters in the Avatar universe, it's hilarious. I think the team that works on Avatar and Korra just love drawing the characters as kind of in wanted poster style. final third of the episode. Big fight. And I do like that Varric kind of gets a moment in this fight, in that he's not a fighter, but his genius kind of level intellect comes in handy here, and you see how powerful Bolin is, kind of fending off so much more than all of the other benders around here. Like, Varric comes up with the EMP as Bolin is holding off like nearly everything. But they still give Anna and Baraz a little bit of a moment, though you see the kind of defenses that the new mech suits have against benders. They're much more powerful than the ones from Book 1. It's a scene that really shows Bolin's development really well, in that he's gone from being, like, if you remember, like, the first big action scene he was involved in the series was really like the revolution at the end. He's captured the revelation, I mean. He's captured at the end by Amon, and Amon basically gives him a chance to fight him on stage, and Bolin chooses not to because he's really afraid of what's going on. And so he goes from that to being this guy who, when a plan goes wrong, can just take on a whole army basically full of mech suits here with his incredible new bending technique, lava bending, and he's more powerful in general as a fighter. So, you know, that's development right there, that he has drastically changed as a character from first appearance to one of his kind of last moments in the series. He's become a hero, you know, he's become brave, he's become a fighter, so that's nice to see. One of the more notable characters in terms of, like, wow, that's a big change. Like, Mako's always been the responsible character, so seeing him become a police officer is like, okay, he became a police officer, but it's a position of responsibility, it makes sense. You know, Korra has developed as the Avatar, obviously, and has changed a lot. Asami, not as much, but has had moments of development and stuff like that. So Bolin's definitely, arguably, the one character that you most note as, like, he has changed the most from meeting Korra. But, yeah, we see that Bolin comes back to save them because they're struggling. And again, alone, he basically makes them retreat. Just really gets across how powerful Bolin is. And proves that they're not on Kavira's side to the refugee, kind of former prisoners. And again, she can use her technique just there on the ground. But is that because there's potentially vines underneath, or is it just a technique she can actually use anywhere? It's not one of the kind of, like, real problems I'm, like, desperate to know, and I think it's a problem that they didn't explain. It's just like, I'd kind of like to know, just for, like, a little bit of info. It's just like, what is the specifics of that technique? But yeah, this is one of the kind of trailer scenes where they kind of on the train defending someone who was in the box, and then we're like, who is this character? He's in a couple of scenes, but it turned out to be Wu. We do get some cool action coming up on top of the train and stuff like that, so, you know, there's a surprising amount of action for an episode called Reunion. So it's really cool seeing Korra use, like, metal bending, air bending, metal bending again. Just, metal bending in a more modern time allows so much kind of potential for stuff, and you almost get the feeling like they thought they had Korra learn metal bending last book just for ease of doing fight scenes like this, that they're not hindered by not having a metal bender there, and like being forced to have like Lane or Sue there, that Korra can work just as well. Asami's main fight scene in this book, primarily, just taking out some guys on top of the train. Mako gets a bit of action, but Korra saves everyone by jumping off and airball cushion. Just a really cool scene, just like they jumped off a train and used airbending to survive. And Team Avatar worked together in that situation and saved the prince. And it's just a scene where they just kind of realize, they make up, they realize that it's going to take a little bit of time to just get used to being back together, but this was basically enough. And then they keep Wu away, of course, they keep that gag going. And I do like this. This is kind of basically a key moment in Wu's development where they decide to put him now to keep him safe. Mako and Bolin's family have come to live in the Sato mansion, so they're going to have Wu live there with them. Which makes sense because these people are all from the Earth Kingdom. It plays into that whole gag with the, like, Grandma Yin loves royalty. And Wu is now going to learn what the normal people of the Earth Kingdom are like and become more of a person for the people. And he just loves being around people who respect him and stuff like that. So it's this situation that just works on all accounts. They don't give it really any focus, like that, to specifically say that Wu directly learned from being with Mako and Bolin's family, but it's just assumed that that's why they're put there, and that's the reason for Wu's big change primarily. Mako helped, being around Team Avatar helped, but mainly it was being around Mako and Bolin's family. And then Baraz and Anna are giving Bolin and Varric a lift back to Republic City, basically. And we're just getting that. Next episode, realistically, is when Bolin is going to reunite with everyone. Though it's actually more like episode 9, because nothing can happen in Remembrances at all, which is going to be a fun commentary coming up next. But anyway, this was a cool cliffhanger, actually, this one. I almost forgot that this was in the episode. That you don't really know where they are. We assume it's not Republic City, but then they're getting vines, and you're just like, they just pan back, and it's just like, no, they're not getting vines from the swamp. This is not going to end well. Toph can't be happy about this. Please don't cut down the giant banyan tree in the swamp. It's such an incredible landmark in the Avatar world, and such a cool place, where some really cool spiritual stuff happened in the series. That is just pure villainous move to take out such a important place. But yeah, just a kind of cool setup that's where she gets the kind of really powerful vines from. But yeah, that's basically all there is to that episode. Again, solid. Not one of my favorite episodes from the book, because, as I said, this book, as well as last book, Book 3, do suffer a little bit in the middle, just because they're trying to do these other plots with some of the more side characters, and that means some of the main characters aren't getting the focus. But it is a solid episode. It's important. It's the reunion of our main characters, and just getting that out of the way, and just setting things up that, okay, Korra's back in the city. She's got a little bit of progress to go in terms of her healing, but primarily she's back. So, yep, that's the commentary for K407 Reunion. I'll be back probably tomorrow, actually. I'll try and do the Remembrances commentary. It should be an interesting one, just because I have a lot to say about the episode and the way it turned out and stuff like that. But I think that's what should make it actually interesting, because I know all the kind of details behind why that episode is the way it is, and so it is going to be more of a discussion on the specifics behind the scenes stuff on that episode, rather than specifically what happens in that episode. So look out for that commentary tomorrow, but for now, thanks for listening, and bye.